Well, good day, my friends. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion. How are you all doing today? I hope you said great. Today we are in San Marino, California, just outside of Pasadena, and we're doing a filming location where they actually, in the movie, live in San Marino. That almost never happens. Unless it's a big city, they always say it's one town and the house is actually in another. But in the movie that we're going to do today, Steve Martin says that the thing his character loves about this town is that he hasn't changed in 25 years, and neither is the town. Daze with Jordan the Lion and you all. It begins right now. So this iconic movie, like all the late 80s, early 90s, was starring Steve Martin. Had one of the greatest casts you could have. It's Diane Keaton, Eugene Levy's in it, Martin Short's in it, Kieran Culkin. It was Father of the Bride. This is the Banks house. Now there's some secrets about this house. Now, first off, this was a remake. Vincent Minnelli had made this movie many years before. It was a hit then, it came back. People from my generation loved it. 1991, this was kind of like what we needed. We loved these family movies that were kind of chaotic and crazy, and so we got that in this movie. Now, the movie actually starts with Steve Martin's character, George Banks, running errands in San Marino, talking about how much he loves his town and how they moved here 15, 16 years ago when his daughter was 5 years old. And so we actually see him pulling into the driveway here.
This is our house, 24 Maple Drive.
So we see his car pull in right here, and he says he loves this house. He says, I love everything about this house. I love that I taught my kids how to ride their bikes in this driveway. I love that we put tents up in the backyard and camped out when they were younger.
It's a great house, and I never want to move. But the thing I think I like best about it.
So when his daughter comes home from Rome, she comes home and tells him that she has decided to get married. And she tells him that she wants to get married at their church, but she wants to have the reception here at the family home. Now, a couple things you got to know about the movie. They did not film inside the house. They only used the exterior of this house for the Banks house. We do see it quite a bit in the movie, and I'll go through some of the scenes that we see it in, but they actually recreated, as far as I could read online, the interiors on a soundstage and did everything that way. Now, one other trick to this movie is that it wasn't just one house. It was actually two houses, because all of the backyard scenes were done at a different house. So all the greatness that happens here is, of course, we see George driving his car and reflecting on his life and everything in this house. But once they decide to have it, they have Martin Short and his assistant. They come and they are decorating the house, setting up the house. They're the wedding planners. And so we see them coming and going from this gate and this walkway. Making plans, setting things up, kind of figuring out how it will go. But what's interesting is that they throw a little wrench into the movie, is that the Farmer's Almanac tells us that they're going to have the coldest day in like 37 years. So George remembers as a kid seeing snow, and it's snowing in LA, and on his daughter's wedding day it snows. So they had like a whole flower display thing out here. They were gonna have swans in, and they have a lady out here with a hair dryer drying all the flowers so they can be seen. We have the scene of Martin Short and Howard out here shoveling the walk.
Frank and Howard shoveled our path themselves at no extra charge.
Just keep shoveling, don't stop.
The house has got, minimal snow and everything. I mean, there's snow around and everything, but as the day progresses, it melts. So they go have the wedding at the church. They come back here. They're having the reception, and it's just bustling with people everywhere. And then the police show up right here. And the police say, do you have permits for all 200 of these cars parked on this street? And the cars are just everywhere. And he says, no, what do you expect me to do? And the cop basically says, I don't care what you do, but you have 30 minutes to do it. So George, being the resourceful man that he is, gets his son and his son's friend, who promised not to eat any meals because they were $250 a person for the wedding. He's allowed to have his friend if the friend doesn't eat. So George gives these two minors keys to cars, and we see them out here haphazardly, crazily driving cars in, parking them along the front yard.
I'm the man, run around here. I may not stand tall and I don't. Yes! Now, here comes your man, looking good.
It's a great movie. It is a great movie. It's total chaos, of course. You know, Steve Martin being the dad doesn't really get to see his daughter through most of the whole reception. She's always, you know, doing something, and he's always handling a problem outside the house. So it's a loving movie. You know, it's one of those movies where you see someone not ready to let go of their daughter, and they're kind of forced to. So they have that whole scene. You know, they didn't film any of the stuff inside here, but that's when, you know, they're doing the garter and all that stuff, and they come racing out to the car to leave. Now, I mentioned they used a second house for all the backyard scenes, so let's go over and check that out. That's actually only about 5-6 minutes away. Hey, you! I see two little eyes poking out. You ready to go to the second house from Father of the Bride? Let's do it. All right, so now we've made our way over to Alhambra. And if you remember part of the movie, kind of the running theme that George always goes back to is his little girl and him playing basketball in the backyard. That ends up, you know, kind of going through the movie. They needed a house that had a backyard with a basketball hoop, so the one that we were showing you, the exterior, didn't have that, so they went over to Alhambra and came over to this house. Now the houses actually look pretty similar. The driveways and everything look pretty similar. Laid out pretty similar. So when we had those scenes in the backyard where they're talking about the wedding plans, and George says, I know where we can go, our favorite restaurant, the Steak Pit. And he's like, Dad, get real. We're not having it at a steak restaurant. So they're making all the plans in the backyard on that patio, but then behind them, that's where George has his little montage of imagining himself throwing a wedding barbecue and doing all the barbecuing there. And then we cut to the shots of George, his son, Annie, and her husband-to-be playing basketball in the backyard.
I got you. Midget slam.
So they had that hoop back there, and then of course once it snows, the night before the wedding, George hears something and he goes out back, and there's Annie out there shooting hoops, playing basketball, and the snow starts to fall. So that would have all happened in the backyard right back here. I mean, it is amazing how similar the houses and everything, the layout, even the carports look pretty similar. Just this big tree is in the middle. Definitely couldn't have had that for the parking the cars on the lawn scene, but yes, this is the other house. The other house from Father of the Bride. So it took two houses. Now, they do show them having the wedding at their church, and George has a whole moment of reflection there, so let's go see the church. Some movies, in my opinion, have just a great script, so it's just a great movie, and some movies are a great movie because of the people in it, and I think this is one that the story's good and it's okay, but it's nothing special. But the actors in this, Martin Short, Diane Keaton, and Steve Martin. Diane Keaton, rest in peace, we recently lost her, but those character actors, those people, they were all leading actors, but charactery in their approach made this movie special. Once they get over here, we see that bell up there ringing, signifying that there's a wedding happening today at the church. So this is the church we see on the wedding day. There's a little bit of snow out in front of it, and we see the limo that's Brought everybody here, parked out front. This is the day George has to give up his little girl. I actually thought I'd be able to get us in here because I looked online. It said it was open during the day, and it also said that they had an office that was open Tuesday through Friday, and I'm here on Tuesday, so unfortunately we can't get in. I was going to show you where this all happens, where they walk down the aisle. This is also where George realizes he's never going to see his daughter sitting at the kitchen table having her breakfast in her nightgown and her socks. He's never going to see her standing at the top of the stairs. He's never going to be out there playing basketball with her. She's never going to need him. Well, she will, but now she has somebody else, and it's a hard realization for him, but he kind of comes to terms with it. You see, it's a very emotional moment when they're all saying I do, and he's ultra tense while he's walking her down the aisle, but everything goes off without a hitch.
With this ring, as a token of my love and affection,
and the happy couple ends up married. So after the wedding's over, we see those doors open and we see the happy newlywed couple come walking out to the limo.
And now, as my son said, it was time to part.
Getting in the limo, and then ends up taking them off to the reception, which is the Banks house. Well, my friends, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed our filming locations today. Father of the Bride, starring Steve Martin and Diane Keaton. This was 1991 when movies were still a lot of fun, still great actors out there making the movies great. So hope you enjoyed it. I know I had fun seeing these locations. I've never been to any of these before. So have a great night and goodbye.